Okay, so my name is Joakim Forsemalm. I'm an ethnologist. Have been working in some Mistra project or other since the beginning, actually. I was part of the first pilot project of multi-level governance. And today we're going to talk about cities as value networks. As you see on the screen here, roughly at least, we actually had the unofficial closing of the project yesterday down at Projectcities here in Gothenburg, where we released the book. That is the end product of the project before 400 people actually. So it's quite fun. And we've had a project team. The project leader has been Jan Jörnmark. And besides me, Carl has also been involved in the project, of course. And it's the three of us that has written this book then that is available at Adlibris, for instance, as of today. And the aims of this project then was to provide a qualitative understanding of the moments and elements that are hidden in the quantifiable processes of city development. We were quite inspired at the beginning from, urban theorists like Jane Jacobs, and we were also interested in trying to understand how other theorists like Richard Florida influence decisions in cities. But we were also interested in trying to understand in what ways people are using different value meters, so to speak, in order to make decisions for themselves to choose different habitats. Why do you choose to stay in a narrow apartment in the middle of the city, or on the other hand, to perhaps buy a bigger house outside of a big city, in this case Gothenburg? What kind of value meters do you use to understand and pay for that decision? That was actually what we were quite interested in to begin with. And also put against different ideas of different parts of the city in terms of urban identities, different urban transformation ideas and gentrification and so on. Do you want to add something there? And to understand these, we can see that in Gothenburg, for instance, you have a district of Linnéstaden in which people tend to pay quite a lot for a flat. And that relates to what you can pay for a new house in Töreboda, for instance, in the outer skirts of the Gothenburg region. I think you might get 17 villas for the same price as one flat in Bromma in Stockholm, for instance. And so how do these things interact with each other? So we asked the City of Gothenburg to get some data for us so we can understand the migration streams within the region. Why are people moving to Gothenburg? Which people are moving to Gothenburg? And where do they move when they move away from Gothenburg? And we can see on this not really clear, perhaps, graph that people are moving out to some municipalities around Gothenburg, and this is becoming a big problem for Gothenburg. It's one of the key findings in this study, I guess, that Gothenburg is falling in the competition, also in relation to the other municipalities around us here. As you see, Lilla Edet is perhaps in the outermost geographical part of the Gothenburg region, and even there the growth in terms of incomes are better than in Gothenburg, and we can see the problems that follows with that here in Gothenburg in many regards. And Gothenburg is also falling behind both Stockholm and Malmö, for sure. And back in 1950s, there were other tendencies that Gothenburg were supposed to outgrow Stockholm nowadays. But some things, of course, alter that path. So this is a reality that we live by at the moment then. And why is that so? Well, in this book then we tried to map up some reasons for that, and one of those are that this city tends to be growing somewhere else all the time. Instead of densifying the city center, Gothenburg has, throughout the history, has tended to build new public house or new housing everywhere else. I mean, out here, for instance, on the Million Homes programs in the 60s, and nowadays, instead of densifying the city center, there tends to be regionalization of the Gothenburg region, making it even more sprawled, both as a city and as a region, bringing a lot of different problems with it. So in the book, then we kind of trace that back in history to understand why the city looks like it does today here in Gothenburg. And try to make it like a punchline at the end. Then the book isn't called what we thought it would be, Gothenburg Lilla LA, Little Los Angeles, because as some of you I guess know, that Gothenburg, the funny name might be Lilla London, but we discussed that it might be called Little LA instead, because it's equally sprawled. It's much more in common with Los Angeles than it has with London, actually, so that's kind of a punchline. So this is the book looks like this, and this is just a view from yesterday. 400 people came to listen to this book release at Pusterviksbanan. It was really fun. End of the project. So yeah, that's more or less about it.